record on this computer. Okay, I think it's recording. Mic check. Hope it's
Okay.
recording. All right, here we go. Welcome to
Yeah.
today's episode of Divers Getting Coffee, and we have Katie Storrs. Your last name is Storrs, right?
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Storr.
Storr, singular.
I'm good.
Um, thank you for
Storr.
joining.
Yeah, like you're going to the store, but no E.
Thank you for joining. I know, life is busy. You've got a lot going on, so I really appreciate you joining. And I try to come up with a fancy background to like make this look good, but we just play by ear and see how it goes. Um, I can spend the next hour by itself just
hmm
hyping you up and talking about you, but I think it's important for you to introduce yourself. So, can you introduce
Okay.
yourself to anyone watching this or seeing this, please?
Sure. Okay, so my name is Katie Storr. Most people know me as Mermaid Katie. I'm from the Bahamas. I'm a conservationist, shark enthusiast, activist, as well as I'm a master scuba diver trainer. An ocean lover, ocean advocate, all that good stuff. I'm also a yacht stewardess, so I do travel a lot within the Bahamas. What else do? I do so many other things. I'm a person with many hats. I would call myself that. So, but mostly things that are targeted around the ocean. So
Right. So
it's
many, so
exciting.
many
Yeah.
interests and ventures based around
Yeah.
the
Right.
ocean. Um, Proudly promoting the Bahamas, which is very high on my list.
Yes.
I should, I should be coming soon, hopefully. And yeah, you just kind of knocked
Yay.
out the next two questions of where you are, what do you do? You have so many things, and I think that's what makes you very interesting. You are
Yeah.
an ambassador for the ocean. You're also an ambassador for representation. I mean, as divers, as ocean loving people, first and foremost, we enjoy being in and around the ocean. Um, I was talking to someone the other day, and I realized in Americas, it's not as common. In Africa, it's even more scarce. But in the Caribbean, everybody dives, so it's normal to just be an ocean person, to be a scuba diver, to be a
Wow.
spearfisher person, and I think that's a very interesting take. What's your take on that? Do you feel like has that ever even crossed your mind about representation in the adventures of the ocean? Let's see, mic check. Can you hear me? I think you froze there for a second.
Yes. Actually, every day it crosses my
Wow.
mind. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I think you
Am I
froze,
frozen?
then it came back. Yeah, your image is frozen right now. I think the audio cut up. Um,
Okay. Is it working now?
Not yet. I can hear you, but the video is frozen.
I can hear it going in and out. You
Uh,
can hear me.
yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Um, you just tell me when, because I'm actually moving. I can continue to, for sure, representation.
Okay.
I think about that every day because I always actually come into situations where that comes up. So,
Mm,
for instance, in the Caribbean, like you said, it's different because here you actually have the representation. When I worked at the dive shop, I always had people around me that were the same color, doing the same things. And as I started to do more things internationally, that's when I started to see someone that looks like me or a representation or diversity for that matter. So a lot of friends around
mm.
the world. And like I said, the representation is not there. So it does come up a lot as I start to do more interviews and as I start to, bridge that gap between not having a representation, changing the narrative, that kind of stuff. So,
And that's amazing. Your video's coming back in now, but I wanted to use this opportunity It's frozen a little bit, but I think I can still hear you.
Okay.
Uh, Use the opportunity to talk about what you do with the oceans of color. That's something you are, you did, uh, you know,
Okay.
start with Zandy, who I talked to a couple of weeks ago. I think a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, first, I just kind of want to know what
Okay.
Oceans of Color is all about, and just kind of want to hear more about that from you.
Okay. So actually, it's very cool that you mentioned Zandy because she is my partner when it comes to the Ocean of Color. We met on Instagram. She actually interviewed me, and I said something that made her, call me after the interview, and then we ended up, expanding on it. And it was that, when I was growing up, I didn't see anybody else like me. And then even when I came into the diving industry, um, I was searching for someone I can look up to, and I couldn't find that. So I just decided to be my own hero. So when I said it to her, she was very moved by that. And so we sat on the phone like at least an hour after the
Wow.
interview. And every day after, we just was on the phone every day. And I don't think we've actually really missed a conversation since. Um, we even fit each other into each other's schedule so we can get things done. So after saying that and connecting and our energies matched, we decided that, hey, we need to do something about the fact that there isn't any diversity within the ocean.
Mm.
So, um, like last year I went to DEMA, and which is, the dive trade show,
Right.
the only one. So
The other one.
that was my
Was
first
that
time
in
attending.
Florida
Yeah.
last year? Yeah.
It was not, yeah, it was in Orlando.
Yeah.
And when I visited, basically my friend and we were like the only, from what I could remember, we were looking around. I remember just looking around, and I was like, hey, where, like, it's just something you do, you look around, you're trying to find someone else that looks like you,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, I think on that trip, we probably only saw like two other people that were of brown skin. So
Wow.
it was just something to really think about, like, where are the others? Like, where's everybody else that, why aren't they here? Why aren't they in this space enjoying it? Being a part of it,
Mm-hmm.
there really isn't anybody. So that was just something that has actually stuck with me from then on to now. So with the Ocean of Color, it's basically creating diverse oceans. So finding other people like us, having them tell their stories, showcasing them, enjoying the ocean, being a part of the ocean, and I think that that's something that needs to be heard
Mm-hmm.
because someone else is looking for that too, and they're looking, where do I find others that look like me, or even just a space to be open and free, because normally there isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and other pages and programs and stuff that I end up being a part of, it's like I don't see anybody else but myself. So I would like that to change, because this is a space for everybody. It shouldn't be the fact that the color of your skin is the reason why you're not a part of it.
Right.
That's just kind of weird to me.
That
So, and
you
that's why
make
we created it.
that's amazing. You make so many great points. I mean, I am just loving the fact that you guys connected on Instagram and you were built something. You're building something tangible out of this, something tangible with very real impact. Um, and talking about just representation, Asia just joined us, and yesterday Asia and I connected on Instagram as well, and we're just talking about like, oh, it's really cool to see us talking to each other, and we're out there, we're doing our things, but
Yeah.
this is one of the reasons I kind of started talking to divers, because I'm like, you know what?
Mhm.
I've But prior to a few weeks ago, I'd only gone diving with maybe one or two other black divers. It wasn't something that I set out as a mission, like, oh, I have to dive with a black diver. But it's like, wait a minute, I know there's got to be more of us out there. So it's great that you mentioned it, and I'm glad. Zandy's an amazing person. You're an awesome person. I'm glad you guys joined forces, and I am looking forward to support your cause, however you guys are, however whichever way it takes. So that's amazing. Let's see, your video is back in good.
Yeah, and
So
actually the feedback we've gotten from the page. Oh,
it's
can you
breaking in
hear
and out.
me?
I can hear you. It was breaking up for a couple
Maybe not.
seconds. But yeah, I can hear you now. Sounds all
Hello.
clear.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you. Can you see me and hear me?
Okay, I can my internet box and see if that works. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Yeah.
Video's coming back in. Audio sounds good.
Okay, 1 second. Let me just move the box.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see if that works. Okay. Yeah.
Sounds good. No worries. While we're waiting, welcome Asia.
Hello, hello. I was just joining in just to listen in to you guys. So think of me as sort of like a fly on the wall.
Sounds good. No worries. Today we decided to just make it a private conversation. Obviously open to anyone who's interested. But sometimes IG Live can get distracting with everything else going on. So cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Okay, is that better?
This is better. Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay,
And
I
looks
moved
like
it.
awesome. That sometimes you just take that little nudge.
Yeah.
That's
This is a
awesome.
very special place I'm at. It's just the internet just sucks.
Yes.
It's like literally living in the middle of nowhere.
Oh wow. Well, paradise is relative, I guess. That's amazing. Yeah, you were talking about oceans of color, and
Yeah, I
you're
was
joining
basically
forces, Andy.
saying that the feedback we've gotten from the project is amazing. Like it's crazy. I can't tell you like how many people have reached out to us, how much people have supported us, messages, collabs, all of that stuff. So, it's a big project. It's just the two of us. I would like eventually for it to be, a bigger and better, like a badass machine, but hopefully everything goes exactly the way it's planned. So
Hey, you know what? Sign me up. Let's see what we can do. Yeah, absolutely. It is
yeah.
amazing how much power, for lack of a better word, power, our phones and internet have they're just in our pockets, and we're taking pictures,
Yep.
recording videos, connecting with people. And I think, building bridges over anything, because just the fact that you can scroll through an algorithm that shows you something you're interested in, like, oh wait, that really resonates with me, and then you connect, then you talk on and act on it.
Yeah.
It goes a long way. It's amazing. I mean, you guys are what, 6,000 miles apart, and you're building bridges.
Yeah, I know. It's very crazy. Like when I think about it, I'm like, and we've connected so well, like our energy, that sometimes it's crazy. I'm like, this person is just like me, but she's like miles away. I'm like, how? Like, but it's crazy. We've never actually met in person, but we just share that connection. And, that's the thing, like Ed, like the ocean brings people together, and you're able to spread that love and reciprocate, all of that. So
yeah,
it's crazy the impact that the ocean has on every individual. And if you share that space, it's like, you connect in some way, just by the energy. You don't even have to be in the ocean to feel the energy and the love, but just talking about it connects people. So
that's amazing, because I found out about Zanny so when I started diving, I didn't know any black divers. I never actually thought about it. It's just
wow.
something is like, yeah, growing up in Lagos, Nigeria, is like, yeah, black people don't do that, just kind of move on. But I think I posted something about maybe a Nigerian diver or something, and somehow connected with my buddy Trey, who is Nigerian, lives in England, currently in Singapore, long term, and he was connected to Zandy somehow. And I'm like, wow, what a small world. And then I'm talking to you, you're like, wait, you know Zandy? That's amazing. How did you, I know the ocean was very present in your life growing up in the Bahamas. I'm assuming you grew up in the Bahamas. How did you
Yeah.
get into diving? You know,
Yes.
there are a bunch of other things you could be doing. You could be sailing, you could be, I don't know. Diving is the best.
That is true. Well, growing up, my father, he was a boat captain for a dive shop.
Mm.
So I've literally been in the ocean from I was born.
Wow.
And I remember like going on the boat with him where they had like night dives and stuff, and he would like take me in the water. He'd allow me to put on my mask, and I would hold like on the railing, and
Yeah.
I'd put my head in, and I'd be holding on, looking as the divers like go down on the night dive. And it was always cool. Like, I always remember my favorite part was like watching the lights dim, get really dim, and then I couldn't see them anymore. And I was like, where did they go?
You're like, oh
But that was as
Lord,
a
they're
kid.
gone.
Yeah, like, and then I finally, as I got older, understood diving and all of that, because my dad worked for like a few dive shops. Like that was his thing. He was a dive master.
Yeah.
And then from there he became a yacht captain. And so I'm kind of like following in my dad's footsteps, if you would say. And that's how I got into it. And then I left the world of diving because as a teenager I would always do that with my dad. And then I went on to do IT. So I ended up going back into the office when I graduated.
Yeah.
I became an IT project manager, and I hated it. It was not for me because the office just sucks. And I just remember looking out the window all the time and like bawling, crying. Like I was like, no, I want to be out there, because it was unfair. And I had a desk that was like on the beach. So I would be looking out the window and the beach was right there. So
yeah, that is.
And so then after that,
terrible.
I just decided that I didn't want to be in the office, and I quit my job. Like I woke up one day and I was like, I'm going to quit my job. Like I hate it. And I ended up working at a dive shop. I had no idea what I was doing because I went in as a rescue diver, and then I ended up getting my dive master and all of that. And then I became an instructor, and that was in 2014. So
wow. And never looked back since. That's
never looked back.
That's amazing. I mean, happiness over everything. And and I can personally relate because I'm also an IT project manager, which I did for a long time. And I remember vividly walking into the office one day a few years back, and I go, why am I here? I mean, it's great what they do, but I'm like, I gotta find something more interesting to do.
Exactly. That's exactly how I felt.
Yeah, and I also appreciate people that have like a very singular focus on what they want to do. I have a lot of interest, so I try to find the right way to balance it. So just kind of just took it from there, and I've been kind of tweaking it ever since. I really enjoy just telling stories about others and just playing around. Divers Getting Coffee is not. This is a complete passion project. I really just want to connect with people. And first, I'm going to start with all the Black divers that I know, and then we're going to go to other themes. But for now, I'm just talking about awesome people. Yeah, awesome people that are divers and that happen to be Black, and talk about our experiences because it's very interesting. Like you just mentioned, you pretty much grew up around the water. It's not the same. Well, I grew up around the water, but I never went into the ocean. So for me, it was a very, it's right there. I know it's right there. It is. I get the physics of going in and whatever, but you just don't do that, So it's a different barrier. Did you ever, when you started diving, did you face any challenges? You know, I can't imagine all the scenarios, but were there any challenges for you going in? And especially when you crossed over and took it professionally and left your beautiful IT job and everybody went, "Are you crazy?" Thinking about that hard, huh?
Crazy. It's just recent. Funny that you say that because last week I had, she's my old coworker. She was like, I remember when you came into the office and you were like, I'm quitting.
Oh, wow.
And she was like, now look at you. She's like, you're like this amazing like chick that's, you know, like, and everybody thought you were crazy. They were like, you're leaving the office, your highly paid job to become a scuba diver, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just, even my buddy, because if that's what this is about, I'll just give you a raise. You know, he didn't even want to let me go. And then, you know, I was like, no, like, I'm literally doing this. It doesn't matter if my salary is less. I just don't want to be, you know, in this space. So I pretty much just said, I quit, and I became a dive instructor. Some of the challenges I had basically were like when I was becoming, like, going through, I basically had to get my dive master and my staff instructor in a year.
Oh, wow.
Because the following year, I got like my IDC and everything free, IDC that following year, and I would have had to complete it everything before then. So the challenge was that I had to really like get into it. Like, it was no more office. It was diving every day, sometimes 4 or 5 times a day. It was brutal. And then when I actually was sitting my IDC, I got a really bad ear infection. Like, it was extremely bad. Skills and everything I had to do, else everybody was, you know, moving on. I had to catch up. So I was continuously like moving, you know, getting everything done. And on top of that, my air was cleared to go under, but it was still painful. And I just remember us going back to the dive shop, and my course director was like, yeah, you got to get in and swim back to the dive shop. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, you got to get in now and swim back to the dive shop. I'm like, but she's
It's
like,
brutal.
no, you're the only person who didn't do your swim. Are you kidding me? And it was so cool. I had a really supportive team, and everybody that did their IDC with me, we were all like a family. One of them got in and he's like, yeah, I already swam, but I'm not gonna let you do this by yourself. And he's like, I know you're tired, but I'm gonna get in and I'm gonna be in front of you. And he's like, don't even look up. You just keep swimming. Watch my fins, and you just stay with my fins. And he swam with me the entire time. And I wanted to give up. I was so exhausted. And like, I stopped at one point, and he didn't realize I stopped. And then he was like really far away. He swam to me and he was like, get it together.
Oh, shout out to that
like,
brother right
you
there.
gotta
Shout
finish
out to
this. You know, yeah. And I mean, it was crazy. Like, it was intense. I cried so much during my IDC. And at the end, I was like so proud of myself, you know. And even with the physics part of it, I was not really good at it. And then one of my course directors was like, hey, you know, you're really good at drawing, so why don't you just draw everything that you're trying to understand, and maybe you'll understand it. And then I just started drawing in physics, and I was like, I know this stuff. And so, you know, it was fun. I had a great time. It was very challenging, but I would do it over and over and over again. So
that's I mean, that's buddy system to the 100th degree, you know, just team members, co-divers, colleagues, getting there,
Mm-hmm.
supporting, hyping you up, and getting that's amazing. That's
Yeah.
wow. That's a great way to overcome that challenge you just talked about. Um, it's amazing. But that's one thing. When you start diving with people, you start sharing, just breathtaking moments with people. You start sharing
Mm-hmm.
moments where you, at any point, you be ready to exchange air. Politics and
Right.
all that just goes right out the window, and it just becomes,
Mm-hmm.
hey, we're in this together, you know. Uh,
It's definitely a bond. It's
mm,
definitely a bond. Even if someone you might have someone you really didn't take to at first, and
yeah,
then halfway through it you're like, this is my best friend. It's like
yeah.
you just create that bond, and it's amazing. I would really encourage anyone out there to become a scuba diver. If you are like already into scuba diving and you just want to continue your education, just keep going, because when you get to the top, you can actually make a lot of money from it. You can make a lot of friends, colleagues. You can travel the world
Mm.
doing what you love. So it's very exciting, as a dive instructor.
That's awesome. There are places I've been to that without before scuba diving, I honestly never even thought about them that hard. Like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's great there, but I don't care, you know. But with as a
Yeah.
diver, I go, even if I'm going to Mongolia, I will like, oh, where's the scuba diving out here, you know? So you get to have a very different perspective of places
Yeah.
and sometimes history. So, what's your
Hmm.
advice for anyone looking to get into diving, especially people of color or just anyone in general that maybe started, kind of fell off, or trying to get back in? Because one of the things I'm trying to do is also encourage folks to people that have been curious about it, that got
Hmm.
in, got their feet wet, and go, I don't know if this is for me. What would you suggest?
Hmm. Well, I'll just tell you what I tell my students, because I actually
Mm,
have quite a few students that they aren't scuba divers yet. Like they've been trying to get their certification, but they have either been challenged or faced with something that they have to overcome, like a fear of some sort. So like I have someone that, still learning how to swim properly or float. And then I have somebody that doesn't like the feeling of water even touching their head, So
hmm
for me, it's like, I feel like practice makes perfect. And you should always do this with an open mind. So like, don't try not to be fearful. I know it's
mm,
hard to say that, especially when you're overcoming a fear. Keep pushing yourself,
hmm
um, and don't let anybody tell you different, because that's a thing. Like I feel like a lot of people are influenced by their peers, they're influenced by their family and friends, and for a lot of Black people, it's strongly okay. You see that when you go home and they're like, oh, why are you doing that? You trying to swim? You can end up drowning. Stuff that people say. I'm like, no, don't listen to those people. If it's something that
Yeah.
you love to do and you're doing it, and you feel happy doing it, you feel secure doing it, keep doing it. Don't stop doing it just because someone else doesn't like it,
hmm
because everybody's different. Everybody has their own opinion. What's for me doesn't have to be for you. What's for them doesn't, and vice versa. So, just continue practicing it, continue doing it. And for scuba divers that are not comfortable in the ocean, go to the pool. Just because you feel as if, oh, I'm not in the ocean yet, don't, if you're not ready for it, don't do it. Go in the pool.
mm,
Go in the pool, stay in the shallow, keep at it, put your head in, go slow.
mm.
There's no, it's not a race, it's not a competition. It's just you and the ocean, it's you and the water. And you have to make that connection for yourself. And when you're ready, you you'll feel it and you'll know. But you just have to
Absolutely.
keep pushing. Yeah. So that's my
Abs-
advice.
Absolutely. I am
Yeah.
one of those divers that started diving before I could probably actually swim. But
Oh wow.
I kind of winged my open water, the treading water. I kind of winged it. But when it was time for my dive master, and they're like, you got to swim that far. in X amount of time. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I got to go get adult classes for this. But and that's a true testament to saying nothing is impossible. If you really want it bad enough, you're gonna figure out a way to do it, or
Yep,
you just
you
make
definitely
excuses and
get
point
it.
at others. Yeah, absolutely. That's
Okay.
right. That personally resonated with me what you just said. So I think it's very important
Mm-hmm.
because you get in diving, especially in that first few moments, the first few dives, the first couple of years, where you're still trying to get your feet
Mm-hmm.
as a diver, and then you could hear like people you've known maybe all your life go like, "Whoa, you gonna drown, clown," or something like that, and it makes you go,
Yep.
yeah, mm. But like you just said, be comfortable, take it at your own pace. Don't. Um, it's not a competition. It's not about other people. It's about it has to be for you, and I think
Right.
that's the key because once you're doing that, you figure it out. You find what it takes. Um, they're great swimmers, but the ocean is fierce. Sometimes we get
Yep.
lifelong bodyguards, lifeguards that get into situations where they can't recover from. So it's not just do what you
Mm-hmm.
can, be sharp, stay safe, and kind of move on. That's
Right.
amazing.
And
I
that's
love
the
that you're able to
thing.
share that.
Yeah.
Hmm. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying also I have one of my friends, like she cannot swim at all. And one day she just was
What's up,
like,
sis?
I'm watching you on you're on Instagram, you're doing your thing. She's like, I think I want to try scuba diving. I looked at her like she
Mm,
was crazy. I won't lie, because she's one of those people that's like anti water. I don't want to go to she'll go to the beach
mm.
and she will literally just put her feet in. And I was like, you sure? And she was like, yeah. She's like, yeah, me and my friend will come and do it. She's done it before. And I was like, okay. So I pulled out everything, Ed. I mean, I had every safety equipment possible on
Hmm.
hand for this girl because I thought she would freak out. But her friend was freaking out and she loved it. Like, she cannot swim, but she loved it. When we went on the dive, because we did the skills in the pool and all that, when we
Right.
went on the dive, she got like 15 feet under, and the bottom was I think the bottom was like 30 feet. So she made it halfway. But that 15 feet, when she came up, she was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful under there. And, just to see that
That's awesome.
reaction for the first time. And then a shark passed and she saw a wreck. And I mean, she wants to do it again. But I'm like, girl, you got to learn how to swim.
You're like, I love you, but there's some basics you just have to cover.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we would basically only get to go when it's like very calm and flat.
Mm,
You're going to have to eventually move past that. So
yeah.
just let's get past the swimming first, and then
That's
we'll move
awesome.
on. But she really loved it though.
That's amazing. And, regardless of how experienced one is as a diver, I always feel
Mm-hmm.
like you got to keep learning, got to keep adapting. So in some cases, it's not learning the basic things or even the intermediate things. It's learning more advanced techniques and things like that. But
Yeah, that's
just,
true.
just I just kind of put myself in a position. I'm like, I don't have any shame. You know what? Fine. I'm a grown man I'm a grown ass man trying to learn how to swim. Fine.
Trying to
Sue me.
learn.
But it kind of worked out, so it's been great. Um, I would have, it probably would have been one of my biggest regrets if I shied away from it at the point. But a lot of great information you just sharing. You have a lot of experience diving. You have a lot of experience in the water, underwater, above the water, growing up with it. What's been the most interesting dive you've ever had? If I wake you up,
Ooh.
3 a.m., Katie,
Oh my
what's your
God.
most exciting dive? Which one comes to mind?
That's hard to decide on because I've had so many really
I'm
cool
sure.
ones.
I'm sure. That's why it's a hard question. I don't think I can answer it
Uh,
myself.
I mean, it's either between the swarm of sharks I was in a blue hole. There was a swarm of sharks around me. And then there
Mm,
was also some tiger sharks I came into. when I went diving, it was like about 3 of them. But
Oh
I
wow.
think that I would say the blue hole because it's just so mysterious.
Which of the
There's like
blue
a
holes is that? The one in the Bahamas, Belize, or Egypt?
yeah
Which of them?
we have I've only dived in the Bahamas. I haven't been
Gotcha.
anywhere outside of the Bahamas other than Florida once or
Hmm.
twice. But there's a blue hole in Nassau that has like a migrating population of probably like it has to be more than 1,000 sharks
Hmm.
that migrate there
Wow.
every year to mate. And they're not a very big shark. They're called a sharp nose shark. So I think like the biggest gets about maybe 3 feet.
Oh,
I think yeah, that's
they
probably the
can still
biggest
do
they get.
damage, but
Um, yeah, but
yeah,
they're very like they're very shy. They will not get
right.
close to you, but you can literally swim in the middle of them. You can like scuba
Uh,
in the blue hole, and they pretty much swim around you like a huge swarm of bees.
that's.
I can send you the video.
I
I know Andre also did a video of it too,
I would
but
love to see
it's an
that, but I think
amazing
yeah,
experience.
I think I saw a video of Andre like and just it was just an overcast of sharks.
Yeah. It's
That's
crazy. You look
wow.
up,
That's
they're there. You
crazy.
look to the side. You look everywhere, and you're just in the middle of this ball of sharks swimming around, and they just keep going around in a circle. But they're not there all year round. Like I said, they only
Yeah.
come there to mate at a particular
Hmm.
time of the year. And yeah, they're it's. I mean, I still can't even talk about it because it's just so freaking amazing.
It's
Like
one of
and
those.
it happened unexpectedly.
Wow. It's one of those moments you're
Yeah.
looking through and experiencing, you just go like at that point you kind of I have mad props if you're actually able to bring out your camera because it's one of those moments you just drop your camera and just go, wow, wow.
Well, I was actually the first time I saw it, I was working at the dive shop and we had a group,
Hmm.
like a group of like 30 people. And it was myself, another dive instructor, and a shark feeder. And he went down a bit deeper than us, you know, and the myself and the other instructor, we were kind of like just at 75
Right.
feet. And he went down a bit deeper than us. And then he comes up, and then there's like him and like sharks. And all I remember was in my regulator, because at the time, Alex, the other instructor, she was filming me. And in the video, all you can hear is me screaming. I was like, woo! And pointing. Like it was just, you know, because it was unexpected. It literally, like, I saw two,
Wow.
and then I looked down, and it was like they were all around us. And
Wow,
everybody
that's
was looking
crazy.
at each other, and we were like, what the, you know, and it's so hard to count them because it's so many. Like you look
Mm.
at first and you're like, okay, it's 100, and then you're like, no, it's not. You know, so
I'm
it's a
trying to
great
wrap my head around it,
experience.
but yeah, it's that sounds amazing. That sounds like the most interesting experience for sure.
It
You're telling
is.
you're telling your dive buddy like go back, just keep them down there. I mean, sharks are obviously they have a terrible reputation, but they are
They
actually
do.
they're apex predators. Some species or a few species are actually more aggressive than most. Um,
Venmos, yeah.
yeah, but Jaws, just the movie Jaws, and just
uh
pop culture has cemented that. Hopefully, with content from yourself, Andre, Ocean Ramsey, all the good people fighting the good fight. Hopefully that changes. And Shark Fin Soup. Oh my God, we'll save that for another day. But that sounds like an amazing experience. Being in their habitat and experiencing that. Do you know what season, what time of the year they come through for that?
um it's more to like I would say May, June, July, something like that.
Agent. Okay,
So yeah, so I think the beginning of August they would have been leaving.
gotcha.
Um but yeah, so
Good to know.
because
Um,
sometimes you go there and you don't see
mhm.
them, but
Yeah,
they obviously like to be very deep. So that's the
yeah.
issue, you know. You'll yeah.
That's
So it's kind of
amazing.
like you have to go down and disrupt them and bring them up.
Uh,
It's literally like bees. I'm not kidding. Like it's literally like a bee's nest, and you go and you disrupt them, and then they come up.
yeah.
Which is
I,
crazy
I've
at how many of
seen
them it
I've
is.
seen some videos of it. I saw one from Andre, and it was so amazing. I didn't even actually think of like where could this be. I just kind of like, wow, that's awesome. You know, thank you
I
for
know.
sharing that. I really appreciate it. It's been a fun year. No, it's not been a fun year. It's been an interesting year.
I was like, what? No, that's not been
It's
a
been
fun year.
an interesting year. It's not
Yes, it
over.
has.
We're all trying to navigate it. I'm hoping you've got a self care routine you've got for yourself to keep mind, body, and spirit in sync.
Yeah.
Um, but I was gonna ask you how the pandemic has disrupted lifestyle for you, work, business, everything. But you know what? How 2020 has disrupted, because if it's not the pandemic, it's everything else going on. So
Yes.
how are you holding up? How are you holding up? Has
Well,
things changed for you?
well, at the beginning, it was really tough to deal with, mainly because I was on charter when it all happened, and like the country was literally gonna lock down, and
Wow.
our manager was like, "Yeah, you gotta go," and it was like we had no time to like do anything. We just had time to just throw our stuff in our bag and get on a plane and get out,
Hmm.
and so then I wasn't able to actually go home, but I ended up staying by my mom's like the entire time. So it's just an adjustment to being there and to not being able, because I'm always on the go. I'm never ever, I'm like here one day, there the other day, here the next day, so it was interesting to just stop. And I had to get adjusted to the stop because it happened quite like drastic. So that initial getting used to being in the house, not being able to see the ocean,
Mm.
that it was torture. And then after a while, I was like, I gave myself a few pep talks. I'm like, hey, use this time to do things productively that you wouldn't have necessarily got to do if you hadn't stopped. So I did a lot of
Mm.
administrative work, a lot of catching up, a lot of like organizing my hard drives, which was like, oh my God, it was insane.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't realized how much footage I had over the
Mm.
years. And I think just one hard drive of photos I had from one trip was like 80 gigabytes, so
Ooh.
I had to go through, delete things because I never delete anything. So it's like I had to go through and delete and clean up. And it was literally me just sitting at my desk all day, scrolling down and
Yeah.
hitting delete. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I got over it. Yeah, I would say. And now I'm back at work, so it's better now.
That's awesome. Sometimes it takes that step back to do some spring
Mhm.
cleaning to kind of get things.
Yeah.
Well, I say spring cleaning loosely because spring just
Yeah.
lasted for 6 months. uh, to
It
kind of
did. It did
see
last for 6 months.
if there's anything we can probably take away from the last 6 to 8 months is actually, like you just said, spending time to self-reflect and realize
Mhm.
how much garbage we, well, maybe not garbage, but what we really want in our lives,
Right.
because things have been kind of desperate and dire and very, uh, you know, uh, very interesting, just the past few months, and just getting the time to realize, I want this in my life. I don't want that in my life. Because it felt like we are just kind of going and going and going and going and going and going before.
Mhm.
But now it's more like when Mother Nature put everything to a halt, we're like, okay, wait a minute. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Okay. you know? So hopefully that kind of just projects, or that absorbs into every other part of our lives as humanity, and help us make the right decisions going forward. Um, that's amazing. I've got the next question, but I'm just gonna interrupt you real quick. My daughter, for some reason, wants to be a part of this. What's up, honey?
Okay, hi.
Hey, come say hi.
I have a nail.
Say hi. I'm talking to Katie. She's in the
Hi.
Bahamas, and my son is also saying hi. This
Hello.
is Gracie. That's Ted.
Hi.
All right, guys, we're gonna be done
Hi,
very
Ted.
soon.
Hi,
Okay?
Gracie.
Can you guys say hi?
You should smile. Smile.
Oh my God, they're spoiled.
Gracie.
But
Daddy,
okay, you're just making that up. But I will see you in a few minutes. We're gonna wrap up here very shortly, and we're gonna have some.
Bye.
I promise them a bunch of ice cream, so they're like, "Oh, are we done yet?"
Oh, that's what you did. Yep.
All right, I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, have fun. Thank you. Appreciate you for being
Oh, they're so
understanding.
cute.
Thank you. Fun times. Bucket lists. You mentioned
Oh.
something interesting that most of your dives have been in or around the Bahamas.
Yeah.
What's on your okay? It's not fair for me to ask you what's the top thing on your bucket list. What are the top 2 things on your bucket list?
Ooh, okay. The Galapagos and Thailand.
Oh wow. The
Yeah.
Galapagos, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's right up there. It's just so expensive. Oh my
Yep.
God. I mean, sorry for me.
I know. But
um, and
definitely mantas in Thailand and
Mm.
Galapagos, just everything. I want to
Yeah.
see above the water, under the water, everything.
wow.
You know.
It's one of those things just being so it reminds me of like Rajan Par. Like it's so high on the
Ah.
bucket list. You're like, oh my
That
God.
would be my third. That would be my third.
Awesome.
Rajan
We got
yeah.
3 out of you. It's funny when the pandemic started. I was caught. It caught me in Honduras. The original plan was to go to Thailand, but right in January when the news started coming, like, that's probably not the best idea right now. So we went to
Yeah.
Honduras instead, and then we still got stuck there for a little bit and came back. So I can relate, like Thailand, Southeast Asia, Thailand specifically, just the island hopping and all the good stuff
Thailand,
going on.
yeah.
That's cool.
One of my friends runs a manta research. Where is she? What is it? Oh, I can't remember. Jamie.
Koh Thai is popular for.
Koh Thai, is it? Hold on, I'm gonna tell you right now.
It's like Koh Thai, Koh Fifi, cool this, cool that. But that's sorry. I don't definitely know COVID. I just took the test.
Koh
I think I'm
Lan.
okay.
She's
Koh Lan.
Koh Lanta. She's Koh Lanta.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, Koh
Thailand.
Lanta. Yeah.
Thailand sounds amazing. Last year spent a
Does
little
the
bit of time.
Thailand Manta project.
Oh yeah? Huh.
Yeah.
So in season they do get the huge manta rays and the whale sharks too, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Wow. So
and definitely I have to put Africa in there. So that would be my 4. You got 4 out of me.
You know what? You got it. You got it.
Yes.
I was supposed to be on a trip in April to Zanzibar was the original target, but that kind of went out right out the window. So hopefully soon. I haven't gone diving. Yes, can I help you?
Ice cream.
Okay. Since we're wrapping up, I'll get the ice cream out to kind of show them that it's defrosting. All right. If you give me a little bit of time to talk to Katie, you're gonna have all the ice cream. Well, no, a little bit of ice cream.
I was like, you really want to say that?
Yeah. I'm like, I can't say what what I righteously wouldn't uphold. So.
No.
But that's awesome.
It's gonna come back to haunt you.
They will, and they remember. They go like, "Wait a minute, you told me."
Yep.
Uh, Now, you talked about oceans of color. Something else I wanted to talk to you about, which is something we actually talked about a couple years ago before any of this started, is Bahamas Guides. Sorry, let me see how you have
Oh
it.
no, Bahamas Guides isn't me.
Okay,
Bahamas Guides is Andre.
okay, that's
Yeah.
that's good to know because I know I reached out to you a few years back, maybe a couple years now. Bahamas was on the list at the time, and we're looking at, I just see what you guys do.
Yeah.
You,
It's
Andre,
it's mine is This is Bahamas.
this is
His
Bahamas.
is
Yes,
Yeah, his is Bahamas Guides.
Uh, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, this is Bahamas. And is that just a tourism guide for the Bahamas?
It's basically right now it's a user generated um
Hmm.
page. So it's literally like people that come here would get to tag us and we repost their images. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, I do give information in the stories of upcoming events, any type of advice when traveling. Like
Mm.
for instance, I did like when we had Hurricane Dorian, I was very involved in helping out with because I got so many messages with people saying, "Hey, we have a plane with goods. What do we do with it?" So
Yeah.
kind of like directing people as to where to take things and also where to donate. And then with the pandemic, I was basically giving a lot of information out with the country and traveling here and what was
Mm-hmm.
allowed and what wasn't allowed. So I do things like that with that page. I do have another project coming up that isn't so much user generated, but it's more of me and my two partners traveling around the Bahamas and doing all sorts of things. I mean, let's say we have
Can't
like,
wait.
I can't give too much information away, but if you're
Not
traveling here,
anything.
like you would
Mm-hmm.
come to us. Yeah. So basically we'd just be your travel guide, a local travel guide
Mm.
that gives the real Bahamas and not some touristy, you know, staying
Yeah.
at Atlantis, but more of the outer islands.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people seem to think that, the Bahamas is just the city of Nassau and not the other, 15 islands that you could go to commercially. And
Right.
most of them you can actually fly from Florida straight into each island. So,
Right. So it's not going to be a fire festival. It's going to be the real
no,
deal.
it's gonna be the real deal, and you're gonna actually receive it through a
Yeah.
local, someone that has done this, has been there, has
Mm-hmm.
experienced it all of their life. So it's an authentic way to travel throughout the Bahamas. Yeah.
And if they're lucky, they're into ocean stuff as well, and they're getting
Yeah.
the best of the
Yeah.
best.
And
That's
then
awesome.
each one of us has our own brand. So for
Mm.
me, it will be, I do scuba diving. So if that person wants to get into that, I would take them scuba diving. So yeah, they're gonna be interacting with us. And the other partner I have, she does yoga. She's a yoga instructor. So she would be teaching wellness and yoga and all of that. So and then eventually we're gonna end up doing some retreats and good projects together.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fun. I'm excited about it, really.
That's I'm excited just hearing you talk about it. So I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to it because that was one of the first connections that we actually made. I was asking about
Yeah,
Bahamas, like,
yeah.
hey, where do I go? What do I do? I want to make sure I do all these cool things you guys are doing. But I think I
Yeah.
never showed up. So that is my bad, and I need to come to the Bahamas.
And then now the pandemic has basically, it was a bit
Yeah.
of a setback because we were due to launch like literally when it started. So it was like,
Hmm.
shit,
Like
like, what do
right
we do
there,
now?
just yeah.
Yeah.
It sucks. Is the Bahamas open right now, or
It is open. It's open for private, I believe private airlines right now, not commercially, not as
oh
yet.
wow,
Yeah.
it's rich people open.
Yeah. It's so if you have like a private vessel or like
Hmm.
a private jet, or if you want to rent or, a private jet, you can come here as long as you follow the guidelines, which is
Right.
like, I think you have to have a negative COVID test. It's still the same protocols, but you can come in once you're doing it privately for now.
That's cool.
We've just recently lifted our residents for them, the locals, to move around. So I think shortly after that, I think he said in October, the Prime Minister said October we would be open for business. So we'll see how that goes. We tried opening already, but we had a lot of cases spiked.
Yeah.
The numbers went up. And the thing about it is our Prime Minister is a doctor, so he ain't playing that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He knows what's up.
Yeah, he like,
That's,
no.
that's good to know. But slowly but
Yeah.
surely, yeah, sometimes it just needs to be staggered.
Mm.
That's cool because, the Bahamas is very close to Florida. So it's understandable that
Yeah, it
some
is.
tourists could just jump in their boat, jump in a private charter and try to get out there. So makes sense.
Yeah.
That's, oh my God. You have so many great stories. I can't even, I'm so weak, but I am looking forward to diving into you someday. Looking forward to your ventures and adventures going on. But real quick before we leave, I know time is precious. You have other things to do. Where can we find you online? If anyone's seeing this right now, where can they find you online? Any handles or websites you want to just put out there real quick?
Sure. So my Instagram handle is Mermaid Katie S, which is like for my last name. So Mermaid
Gotcha.
Katie S. That's on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can find me under the same name. If you want to check out my portfolio, so my underwater photos, if you want to connect with me, collaboration or anything like that, my website is www.katiestorr.photo.com.
Good to know. That's awesome. If anyone's just tuning into this, just holler at her. Just reach out to Katie. Just say hi. Check out her work. Check out her adventures. I'm definitely gonna put it in the comments and posting about it. But final thoughts.
I'll put my.
Any questions for me or any? Awesome.
So,
I
I had a question. Yeah. I had a question for you because you said that. When did you start diving?
2015, 16, about that.
Okay.
2016, yeah,
And
right around that.
what level are you right now?
I am a dive master. I got my DM. So let me back up. When I started, 2016 or 2017, one of them. When I started, I basically started thinking, I'm just going to do my open water and kind of just move on. Do occasional dives when I go on vacation, yada, yada, yada. For a number of reasons, it was a rough time in my life. It was something I really enjoyed. It was something I really wanted to do for so long. And I had a few challenges at the beginning. Then when I started getting the rhythm of it, I was like, wow, I just really enjoy this. I just skipped every kind of mental, like, oh, I'm going to just like, let me just dive, And I just went diving. I just like, you know what? I'll take the nitrox. You know what? Let me get that advanced real quick. That rescue looks good. I think I need those specialties. Okay, so next thing you know, I became a dive master.
Wow.
I don't really have any ambitions to be an instructor. Honestly, I just don't think I have the temperament. I think I have mad appreciation for instructors. I think I'll just be a horrible. I'm like, drown,
Oh my God, no.
But
you would be great as a teacher.
I don't know. I haven't found the motivation yet. The only thing that'll probably motivate me to be an instructor is to sponsor, I don't know, charity, sponsor kids, specifically kids, junior future ocean ambassadors, warriors that may be interested in diving, but probably are not in positions to be able to get it. So That's probably the only thing that'll get me into it. But yeah, I'm a dive master. Hundreds of dives. I just kind of enjoyed, but I right now I'm just really enjoying the space of storytelling and talking about
Yeah.
dope divers and learning from you guys and going on dives with you. So 1 minute we're getting coffee.
Well, maybe that will change.
We'll see. Yes, everything.
Maybe
nothing
that will
is permanent.
change eventually. If you tell enough stories and you meet enough people, you
Yeah.
might get encouraged to become an instructor.
I know, right? I don't know. We'll see. It's such a commitment that it's a commitment. I don't think I have the temperament for it, but also, yeah. I think over time, I'll just follow the natural evolution of things. I'm not, I never say never, but see how I be.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a quick wrap up of my dive career so far. But here we are. It's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, I know. We talked about jumping on live IG live, but you dropped a lot of information in this. I am recording it, so I'm just gonna get sound bites and share with everyone. So again, I really want to tell you how much I appreciate your time. If you're up for it, I am good for it. I have a big mouth. I never stop talking. So if you're up for it, we can jump in a live. If not, we can wrap it up and share the sound bites. How you feeling?
I'm doing good. I mean, I'll probably go outside to do the live though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's do that. Well, this is another episode of Divers Getting Coffee. We have Mermaid Katie at Mermaid Katie S. If you just join in, go back, just start from the top because you missed a lot. You need to hear what this amazing Wonder Woman has to say. So thank you for joining. We will see you guys on IG Live in a few minutes. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I'll just log in.
Okay.
I'll